All right, guys, let's break this one down real quick. UFC Fight Night in Perth, Australia. Overall, pretty solid card. Not bad at all. I'm going to run through the results and give you the quick takeaways. Now, I got to be honest, the prelims, kind of underwhelming. I was expecting a bit more action, a bit more fireworks. But yeah, it just didn't really deliver. But the main card, that's where things picked up. Some really solid fights, good performances, except for one. And yeah, you already know which one I'm talking about. So yeah, no more wasting time. Let's get straight into it. I'm still trying to figure out whether I overhyped Dumar Fan or straight up slept on Cody Steele. One moment I actually really liked. Cody hit a clean takedown pretty easily and controlled him for half the round. Then Dumar Fan swept him, got on top, and for some reason kept wrestling instead of standing up, which I thought was his clear advantage. And honestly, the funniest shit happened. He lands one single punch from top position, starts smiling like he just won the fight, and literally 2 seconds later, he's tapping from a leg lock. Beautiful, just beautiful. Moving on, Jonathan McAuliffe versus Themba Gorimbo, or should I say Gorimbo versus his own cardio. Real talk, I expected way more from McAuliffe. It ended up 2-1 for him, but the first 2 rounds were straight up awful. The third round was just Gorimbo running out of gas. I wouldn't rewatch this one for analysis. The last round was basically Gorimbo fighting himself. If you give McAuliffe tougher competition, I'm not seeing him as a favorite at all. That split decision was straight bullshit though. It was a clear 2-1. I have no idea how they gave Gorimbo the first round. All right, next. This one was kind of dumb. Ben Johnston actually looked better on the ground than I expected. Wes Schultz threatened a bunch of submissions and had his neck a few times, but couldn't finish. Meanwhile, Johnston kept initiating the grappling himself. In the third round, he finally got caught after like 5 attempts. Look, I don't know. Something's off with Schultz, man, but I got to give Johnston credit. You know, I thought he was going to get smoked in the first 2 rounds, but he came out aggressive and immediately went for takedowns. I bet his next fight, he's going to do the exact same thing because his striking ain't there yet. This felt like a one-and-done signing for him. Johnston is better, but he lost this one because of his own dumb mistakes. It was still a decent competitive fight, though. The first 2 rounds went to Colby Thicknessy, and Vince Morales clearly took over in the third. But let's be honest, boys, we all know how this works when it's a home country guy. They were throwing that W to Morales no matter what. Thicknessy has decent grappling and throws a lot of kicks, but his hands, not impressed at all. Weak hands. If he steps up in competition, that's going to be a big problem. Next, Jacob Malkoun versus GM3. Yeah, Jacob got the win. Good for him. But that fight was straight garbage. Gerald Meerschaert clearly doesn't want to fight anymore. Bro should just stick to grappling if he's going to show up like that. Even Malkoun didn't look as dominant as I expected. I don't really have much else to say about it. Jacob, we'll remember you for now. Let's see who they give you next. And GM3, it's time to hang it up in the UFC, man. Junior Tafa versus Kevin Christian. With that size, Christian barely used it. Hands down, chin up, leaning on the back leg. Terrible. Junior Tafa did exactly what he was supposed to do and got the TKO in the first round. Couldn't lose coming out to 50 Cent anyway. Kevin Christian is not UFC level. Junior Tafa isn't fully there yet either. He's a solid striker but has grappling issues. Still, against guys like Christian, he's going to eat. And he did exactly that. Last one. Cam Roston versus Robert Brycek. Absolute domination by Cam Roston. Unlike Christian, he actually used his size, kept distance with the jab, landed clean shots. Robert had some moments, threw body shots and tried to switch upstairs, but nothing serious. Roston's wrestling was on point the whole time, and Brycek had 0 answers. Dominant performance across all rounds. Solid stuff. That dude is actually pretty good. All right, let's move on to the main card. Tai Tuivasa versus Louis Sutherland. A lot of people were expecting fireworks, a banger, early finish. So how'd it go? Look, like most of you, I also picked Tuivasa to win because if you can't beat Louis Sutherland, you honestly don't belong in the UFC, especially when you're on a 6-fight losing streak, now 7. But real talk, both of these dudes are ass. I'd cut both of them. Sutherland because he's just a bad fighter, and Tai, bro, it's time to retire. You clearly don't want to fight anymore. You can't fight at this level, and you can't compete in the best organization in the world. I don't even want to talk about this fight. It wasn't UFC level. Moving on, next, Shamil Gaziev versus Brando Pericic. This one went pretty much how I expected. Even though my pick was trash, I went with Gaziev. Dude just doesn't think in the cage. He doesn't use his strengths, has 0 cardio. The fight played out exactly like it should have, but I still thought Shamil would actually use his wrestling instead of just standing there passively against the fence. His corner was yelling at him to wrestle, to take him down, and he's like, nah, my hands are tired after one round. Bro, come on. Still, it was a good fight, and I'm not mad at the result. Pericic looks solid. Gaziev doesn't deserve to be in the top 15. No cardio, no killer instinct. Pericic, good performance. That was the only positive here. Marwan Rahiki versus Ali Schmid. Let's be honest. They brought this guy in just so Rahiki wouldn't get pulled from the card. Schmid showed some flashy spins and shit in the first 30 seconds. Rahiki looked at him like, okay, cool, then did the same thing and finished him in the first round anyway. Clean, straightforward TKO win for Marwan Rahiki. I thought it might go into the second, but first round, no complaints, quick and confident performance. Tim Elliott versus Steve Erceg. This was actually a pretty decent fight from both guys. Elliott came out super active in the first round, but you could see the cardio drop hard in the second. And by the third, he had nothing left. Erceg took over. First round, Elliott. Second and third, clearly Erceg. He outstruck him cleanly and looked way sharper. Elliott spent most of the third round just face-checking shots like it was a new technique. At the end of the day, I think Elliott didn't come to win. He came to put on a show for the fans, and he did that. Respect to both. Steve Erceg looked great. Cleaner boxing, better pace, solid win. Now, are y'all ready? Beneil Dariush versus Quillan Salkhild. At first, I thought he got dropped by a heavy high kick that he blocked. But on the replay, you can clearly see he ate a jab he never saw coming. After that, Dariush tried to control him against the fence and attempted takedowns, but Salkhild defended well, scrambled out, and that was it. Dariush is chin-checked, man. His jaw's made of glass at this point. He doesn't want to take those big shots anymore. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of glad it happened. It was expected. Quillan Salkhild with the first-round knockout. Sorry, Beneil, but your time at this level is done. Either drop down or fight someone who's more of a grappler. Quillan Salkhild just punched his ticket into the top 15. Congrats, dude. And now the main event of the evening, live from Perth, Australia, Jack Della Maddalena versus Carlos Prates. What a fight, man. This was easily fight of the night. First of all, I'm super happy Prates got the win. That dude is a straight up monster. But as for Jack Della Maddalena, I don't even know where to start. His walkout was electric. The atmosphere in that arena was insane. You could feel it through the screen. The energy was crazy. The fight starts, it's tense, and we quickly saw the problems. Every boxer has issues with wrestling and leg kicks, right? Well, Jack had a third problem. He couldn't cut the distance. He couldn't close the gap against this long, rangy Prates, who controlled range perfectly. Prates was just picking him apart on the feet. Pay attention to the first round. The moment Carlos landed that shot through the guard, you could see it in Jack's face. He instantly realized how much power this guy carries. After that, every time Prates threw combinations, Jack was shelling up in the middle of the octagon, full defensive mode. Prates, bro, where the hell does that power come from? Jack, I'm sorry, man, but you can't box with Bilal Muhammad Canelo hands and consider yourself to have the best boxing in the UFC. It doesn't work like that. I'm really happy, though, because I actually predicted Prates would win in the third round. This fight is worth watching again, 100%. Carlos Prates should already be in title contention. I don't want to see him wasted in some contender eliminator against Morales. Nah, I want to see Carlos Prates versus Islam Makhachev. Let's make it happen. All right, let's quickly run through these fights real quick. Starting off with Cody Steele versus Dom Marfan. Man, I'm still kind of torn on this one. It's somewhere between solid and meh. I'm not the biggest fan of super grappler heavy fights, but that first round submission, clean as hell. Gotta respect it. I'll give it a solid. Jonathan McAuliffe versus Thimba Garimbo. Nah, I'm not putting this anywhere near must watch. If you're really bored, just fast forward to round 3. That's when Garimbo was running on empty, but somehow still standing. That's about it. Wes Schultz versus Ben Johnston. Yeah, no, straight up trash. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Colby Thicknessy versus Vince Morales. This was actually a solid fight. Nothing crazy, but decent enough. Jacob Malkoun versus Gerald Mearshart. Hard pass. I'm never rewatching that. Straight up boring. Junior Tafa versus Kevin Christian. I'll say solid. Not amazing. Not a banger. Just okay. Cam Roston. Hey, respect. Dude showed up and got a solid win. Clean performance. Tai Tuivasa. Man, what the hell was that? I expected a lot of things, but not whatever that was. Just a mess. Shamil Gaziev versus Brando Pericic. Now that was fire. Really fun fight. Even though Gaziev let me down a bit, but that's on me for believing in him again. Marwan Rahiki versus Ali Schmid. First round knockout. Yeah, that's fire. Quick, brutal, and straight to the point. Tim Elliott versus Steve Ursag, solid scrap. Both guys showed up and threw down. Benil Dariush versus Quillen Salkilde, that was fire too. Really good stuff. And finally, Jack Della Maddalena versus Carlos Prates. This is the one. Fight of the night, absolute banger. That wasn't just solid, that was straight fire. Main event delivered. And that's going to wrap it up for this card, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you're new here. It really helps the channel out. We'll be back real soon with more breakdowns. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.